Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and today let's talk water pump pliers, also known as adjustable pliers, slippery pliers, groove joint pliers, arc joint pliers, multi-grips, tap spanners, gland pliers, pipe spanners, and of course channel locks. And the blue handled channel locks are something identifiable world round. They really push this kind of irrigation plier or water pump plier or tongue and groove plier into the attention of all tool owners back as early as the mid-1930s. But there's all kinds of others, and most of us now have kind of dialed in on the Canipex's Cobra. And this is a more modern Cobra here. You can see it says Cobra. This particular guy is 250 millimeters long. This is an earlier Cobra here. It isn't just because it's a darker color, but also you might notice that it has much coarser teeth and far fewer of them in terms of length. So even though these are both Cobras, they're both 8701250s. Identical part number there. This one's the new one, this one's the old one, and you can see here as I use the push button that they are famous for and open these up, you can see that there is a considerable difference in jaw reach. Otherwise, they're almost identical. These are the go-to for a lot of applications that involve large fittings, that involve kind of a low torque, big nut or big ring grabbing. The kind of trendy thing for Cobra sellers, you know, the tool trucks or whatever, is to actually literally grab something here, and then this will stay on in spite of you not hanging onto it. In fact, you can stand on this and this grips so hard that it doesn't spin. So that's great. There's kind of a camming mechanism here that holds these two together, and when that happens, the force at the handle is so strong that it digs in and stays with the material, whereas channel locks do not do that, or the channel lock kind. This is an older one here. This particular one uses a kind of a nut and bolt system. This is the new version, USA made Craftsman. It's kind of a polished rivet design. I do like this better. I've had these loosen up. If there's any play here and you line up this this tongue here with the groove and it doesn't quite go, you can literally force the two plier heads apart and mess up the pliers. Anyway, besides the Cobra, there's also a Alligator, and that's what this design is. Even though this is a Klein Tools here and it's made in Germany, I'm going to go over this shape is a little different, but this is known as an Alligator, whereas this is a Cobra. Neither one of them is known for really grabbing and hanging on as well as some other animals, but very simple design here with this Alligator here, and the Cobras require a spring action. This little thing, you can actually pull it out and unscrew it, pop it loose, and take this apart if you want. But this is a great design, very strong, it's smooth, uses a kind of a double neck here that completely surrounds this other side, and when that happens, you get tremendous torsional rigidity and, you know, tremendous strength, even though it's in a very thin profile. And they do make a very thin version of this as well, if you needed something that fit into a really tiny spot. Here, let me show you the grips, because that's really what this is all about. I'm not talking about the handles, I'm talking about the way it grips a bolt. This is the Milwaukee down here. You can see it's got this absurdly long plunger at the top. I mean, that's ridiculous. Talk about catching on everything. Here's the difference. You see that? And you think that this plunger is already too long. But, I mean, on the Kinepex, you can see it sticks out a ways, but this is bizarre. Anyway, let's take a look at these jaws. From 30,000 feet, they probably look about the same, but you can see they're considerably different. And they're different in terms of the angle and in terms of the length. You see that? So the Kinepex, much longer versus this before it hits the corner. And then this is more circular, whereas this is more elongated. Let's throw this Klein in here, which is probably a rebranded something like a Kinepex. But anyway, it's also a little bit different. So if we compare those, and you kind of look through, could even get the shadows going if you wanted. But you can see it's also a different profile in angles and in teeth. It's more curved on both edges. You see that? This curves. Let me see if I can get it right there. You can see there's a bit of a curve, whereas this is flat. So they're approaching it differently. It might be a patent issue. If it is, you know, that's what we have to live with. Klein, or Kinepex actually dialed that in, whereas Klein's got to play second fiddle and get whatever it can. But otherwise, very similar. Both work really well. If I had to grab one, though, it'd definitely be the Kinepex Cobra. Another popular one is the Canipexplier wrench. That's this guy here, and basically the jaws remain parallel. This is great for softer plumbing fittings and also any fasteners where you want this camming action. You see that, to really grab hold and hang on. It does adjust the width of the handle, so sometimes you pop it up a notch or two, and it does have the millimeters, if you can see written here, in terms of the grip. So this one has a maximum of 12 millimeters right there. That's the max of 12. So you can see there's the max of 37. And of course, these things come in different sizes. Let's start dropping down a little bit. And there's the standard, you know, palm-sized channel lock, the palm-sized Canipexplier wrench. And then we've got the Cobra here and the Alligator. And you can see that this one is branded Alligator. This one's branded Cobra right here. And that's the difference of this pivot. I haven't had any problems with this, except it's definitely not as fine, and it catches. You see that? You know, if I get it in between, it's kind of reminiscent of the old channel locks that you're trying to dial in by wiggling it around. And then smaller Cobras. And then, of course, you can go even smaller with an even smaller little plier wrench, and even smaller channel lock. These are so cute. Thin. This is more of a combination or an ignition wrench designed to work on little tiny parts. I don't really find a lot of use for it. The jaws are way too short. But anyway, the plier wrench, this is a great little pocket tool. And then the Cobra, and then this new super small kind of mini Cobra here. This one's 125. This one's a 100. You can see they're smaller. This uses sort of a combination. It's really sweet. So you can quickly slide it in, or you can grab your object and slide it up and then grab it, versus having to push the button. They just couldn't get a button on something small like this. And part of the coolness of that evolution, that ability to go after, you know, kind of a small design such as this, is it forces them to have to rethink their own technology. If they can plug a button, you know, in some sort of a mechanism like this into any plier, then they're going to just kind of coast along, you know, plug a button in it, it'll work. But when they got small enough, such as this size, they were unable to actually have the detail necessary to plug the button in. So what happened? They redesigned it. And they were able to produce an entirely new joint mechanism. And with that, Dock out.